I love that we met on Twitter. That was a blast. I think we followed each other. I checked out your work, and then we started DM each other. Met up in New York, Central Station.
We met
drinking
up in New York.
some peach bellinis.
Peach bellinis.
And I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And so
Likewise.
when you said you're coming here, I wanted to have a conversation with you about what you do and who you are so that other people can know the cool people I know. So I wanted you to explain who you are.
Who I am, that's a big question.
Who you are, what you do.
What do I do? I work with senior executives and entrepreneurs and businesses of all kinds, helping them tap into their talents to communicate more effectively.
Well, what's different about you, too, to me, is that you had a whole career in theater and comedy. I mean, you're the real, deal.
Yeah.
And I think it's fascinating because that's the context from which you come from. So what kind of insights from stage and screen have you found that apply to business?
Well, there are many. And if you think of your business really as an art, which is one of my big tenets, how do you turn your business into an art?
Yeah.
How do you turn your product or service into an art? You can look to any kind of art medium, whether it's comedy or painting or film or television or stage, ballet. And all those, especially the performing arts, have some things in common, which is like a live business interaction.
That's true.
So you think, for example, any symphony or any comedy actor, any film doesn't just begin by chance. There's a very careful design to the opening moment. But most presenters, most consultants don't think about the opening moment. And the same is true for what I call the final moment, the first and the final. So the final moment is also going to be what leaves the final impression. So any comedian has a very careful joke for their finale, the final image of a movie. So when I talk about presentations or I talk about consulting, I say, what's your final moment when the client or the audience leaves? What's the final impression?
That's great. We call that the new bliss. It's a similar thing,
yeah.
but it is so planned and
Yeah.
staged and
Right.
honed as a
Right.
craft,
Right.
yet presenters don't make the investment.
Presenters don't make
to
the
do
investment,
that.
and salespeople don't make the investment. The final line for most salespeople is, talk to you next Tuesday, as opposed to, I've got you covered.
Oh, interesting.
Consider it done.
Interesting.
Or it could be a final funny line, a callback, which is, is really, it's not a theater term so much as a comedy term that refers back to an earlier joke. So you have the client laughing. What a final moment that would be.
Yeah.
So
That's fantastic. So much of your message comes out through your body language. So have you ever had to present remotely through be teleported through the internet to another
like a
room?
hologram.
And do you have any tips for people who have to present
it's a great question, and there are a few techniques that I use. I do virtual presenting, and recently, in fact, I've been doing more teleseminars. So that's a challenge because it's just your voice. It's not even video. It's not a WebEx. It's really, of the three mechanisms, verbal, visual, and vocal, it's just one.
Yep.
But I think you can use the other two, the verbal and the visual. And the way you do that is through description. Because you can, the imagination is very powerful, and if you think back to radio,
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't made that parallel to
we
radio.
can create all kinds of images in the mind.
And be riveting.
And be riveting. And so a lot of it is the word choice that you use to evoke emotions and imagery within your audience, your listeners. Some of it is also just using the different volume and tone and rhythm and
creating some
pacing.
contrast to
Absolutely.
keep
And
them
that
interested.
comes, and this goes back to your question about how I coach people, but it comes from the inside out. Like if you're thinking I have to change my voice and I have to go quiet and loud, you're going to come outside in. And my belief is when you're truly connected to your through line, those variations occur naturally.
So tell us about the prism effect.
Prism effect. It's a theory and a paradigm that I love. I've been working on it for over 2 decades, really. I started years ago with this concept that in each of us are all colors, in a way. And it sounds a little woo-woo, but the
You're in
concept
California.
is... I'm
You
in
can be
California
woo-woo here.
today. When I go back to New York, none of that.
Then you'll be woo-woo again.
But I made a poster years ago called Sometimes, and the concept was, sometimes we think we're this color, I'm blue and you're purple today, but the truth is in each of us are many things. And I think our greatest talent in life as a mother or as a keynote executive or as a salesperson really comes from harnessing the full spectrum of what exists within us. And so often in life we think, well, if I'm executive, I have to wear a suit and talk like this. But maybe the executive plays harmonica, And I say, why not start your presentation with
The
that?
harmonica. That's fun.
So how do you tap into the full spectrum of your unique talents and bring them together towards a very specific through line? So if you think of a prism, and you think of all the light shining through that prism, what comes out the other side is the full spectrum of the rainbow, both directions. So you have a clear light, and it splits open. And the reverse is true. So when you take the full talents and you bring them back through the prism, you can produce a pure through line.
That's fantastic.
So what I do is really say, with an executive who's speaking, I say, what's your through line? What's your key message? What are you really after? It's not so much the goal as what's the running imperative that drives your behavior. What's the nobility behind your work?
But it's interesting because we do protect ourselves. We communicate differently in business. We don't bring our true selves to work for some reason. We don't want to expose them to these other facets. And it almost, by exposing to other facets of yourself, it kind of amplifies the clarity of what you're trying to communicate is what I'm getting.
I think so, and we become more human. And especially today in this era, this isn't the 50s, we're in an era of transparency and creativity and individual nature, and so people are hungry to understand other sort of depths and contours and dimensions within a given person. It gives them, by the way, what I call Velcro communication. So you get the hooks and the loops, and the more connections that your audience or your
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm way about connecting in a real human way. And I think that's what you bring. That's why I was particularly drawn to you. I mean, there's other people that will coach you in your delivery and coach you in this and just film you back.
Right.
But it's really rare to find somebody who really has the kind of energy and brings the full person.
Hi there. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh my gosh.
Is it really true? I heard it was true.
Victoria, is it
really
true?
true?
Is it true?
We heard you were going to marry Fozzie Bear,
Or Bert,
or Yoda,
or Miss Piggy,
either one, I
or
guess.
Sam the Eagle.
Sam the Eagle.
Right.
Right.
Is
Is it true?
I'm marrying them all.
Oh yes, that is so awesome. Woo!
Oh my God.
Where do
What's
I
it
start?
like?
Where do
What's it
I
like?
start?
If you touch my puppet, will I be a better puppeteer?
You sure will.
Wow, that's awesome. This is so
Best
cool.
day of my life.
Wow. Is he out in the car?
Is he? Did he drop you
I don't
off?
know. He might be.
Okay.
No, he's elsewhere.
Are you gonna take the name
Oz. Am I going to become Victoria Labalme?
Osnowitz?
Osnowitz.
As his birth name from before he moved here when he was 5.
Oh, well, you have done your research. This team is good, Nancy.
He is from Oakland,
He's
true.
That's where I live.
You've
That's
done
true. They're
serious
true.
research.
Yes.
No, they knew all of this.
You knew all this already?
What's so funny is
So
I'm
you
the
have
only
to tell-
person.
You have to tell your story.
So we're having our peach Bellinis, and she's like, "Oh my God, my fiance is totally in your book." And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Most of the men in my book are like dead." So I start naming off all these people, and then I'm
I married
like,
a dead
"Oh, I
person.
know, you're marrying Luke Skywalker." And she goes, "Well, you're really close." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
you can't marry Yoda."
Yeah.
She's marrying Yoda.
Yeah.
She goes, "I'm marrying Frank Oz," and I'm like, "Oh, who's that?"
She didn't know who that was.
No. She said, for the record, she said, "Oh, the little person inside of Yoda." and just to back up,
I thought we were going to be the most embarrassing thing here. Apparently not.
This was we decided to play 20 questions.
Yeah,
right?
it was-
Do you
we
remember
were
this?
trying to guess
so
all
it's,
20 questions.
Vegetable, animal, mineral. No, but we got down to Star Wars and to you're the person.
Yeah. And so then I was like, well, clearly my staff is going to be really angry with me. And so I come back, I tell the whole story, and these guys are like, they know all of this about him.
Yeah.
They really know it. They did not research him. They
That's
already
impressive.
knew it. all.
I'm impressed.
Right, and
well informed gents.
Right, and he's more than just a puppeteer and
Yes.
more than
Well,
just
see,
Yoda. He's
that's critical, and I'm
the
glad you-
directors of
Oh my!
things like
Out of the body comes the news.
The Indian in the Cupboard,
Yes, Indian in the
I love
Cupboard.
that.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Excellent, good movie. Steve Martin, Rick Moranis in there. Stepford Wives remake,
Interesting.
probably better than the
Interesting.
original.
There's some-
And got to work with some pretty heavy names
God,
on
see, now
the
I'm
score.
embarrassed. Way embarrassed.
Not to mention the Dark Crystal.
Wow, and you even have a T-shirt on. My God.
Yeah.
Like you didn't miss anything. I'm wondering what is coming out from other pockets now.
That's what I wonder also usually too. So, well, we know you have something going on,
Interviews to
so
get back
to.
we'll let you
Bye,
keep going.
Frank.
You guys are great.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Bye, hun.
all right. Well, See you later.
Bye-bye. It was nice meeting you.
Well, you too, guys. Thanks so much for all your prep. You're amazing.
This was supposed to maybe minimize my own embarrassment, maybe, huh?
You've been eclipsed.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I absolved?
You're
I'm
absolved.
Okay. That was funny.
That was hysterical.
So I want everyone that's watching this, obviously, to hire you
Oh,
and
thank you.
get to know, what you do and how you tick, because I've loved doing it. And you gave me like your little DVD thing,
Yes.
but the thing I love the most are these little books,
the little
these little
mini
mini books, and I think they're really cute. So I know you mentioned you're gonna like set them up like a little Beatrix Potter
the idea is to sell them
collection
as a set.
And so, the first book is on.
Well, the first book that I did a long time ago was Crazy Busy Nuts, Getting
Yeah.
Off the Conveyor Belt of Life, which is the first keynote. And I did one called Communication Moves, which is a whole workshop series. And I did one on Engage Your Brilliance and the Prism Effect. That's the one you have here, is the Prism Effect.
I think these are really cute because they're little mini slideshows, for lack of a better word. One concept per page, it
Right.
looks like, and then
Right.
a little visual that helps support the concept and
Right.
get the message across. So I just think I think it's the sweetest thing. And there's these new little short form books that are emerging everywhere. TED's making them, other
Right.
people are making them, selling them for only $2 as a
Right.
PDF or on a
Right.
Kindle or whatever.
Right.
But I love this little visual form factor because it gets the point across, and you can carry it with you.
That's
It's
the
not,
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, or put it in your pocket, or bring it to a meeting.
That's
and-
exactly right. People
yeah.
keep it in their pocket, in their bag. I have clients from Starbucks who I worked with in 2004 who tell me they still have theirs in their desk.
Oh wow.
And so that's really the goal. It's not to impress your client with the big book, but it's to create something for me that was fun to make and that I felt people could use.
Well, you get the concepts across so stinking
Right.
quickly and,
Right.
and interactively.
Right.
It feels more, I don't know why, because you're flipping
Yeah.
quicker, and I think that
Right.
makes them feel more involved
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
reading for
Right.
a spread for 5 minutes and then turning the page.
Right.
It's very fun. And you have these little tiny characters
Yes.
that are your little trademark
Those are my
people.
little guys,
So
yep.
you sketch. You really are artistic for being in theater and visual arts and just a creative, clever gal.
Well, this is my Prism Effect. It's film and theater and comedy and dance and mime and drawing and all put together towards helping people.
Yeah. Well, I heard you mention crazy busy nuts. So what do you do to stop yourself from going crazy busy nuts?
Crazy Busy Nuts. Yeah. Well, number one, I connect, meaning I try to be in the moment. And I think you can be going quickly on the conveyor belt, but you want to be present, kind of like someone on a train car from the
yeah.
outside. But in the moment, they're completely 100% present wherever they are.
Oh, that's nice.
So I was just meeting with a client before here. I got in my car. I was in the car. I'm here. And it's not about not being full in your life. It's about being fully awake.
Oh, I love that phrase.
And
I'll Twitter that.
and so it's also about
Write it down.
reconnecting with the things for you that stop time. The quote I use in my keynote from Bob Dylan is that the purpose of art is to stop time.
Oh, nice.
And I think when you reconnect with your personal art, whether that's cooking or gardening or photography or organizing your closet, whatever it is for you that stops time will get you off the crazy busy nut conveyor belt of life.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad you came here
I'm
to
so glad too.
California.
It's
We're going
fun.
to have lunch together.
We're gonna have lunch.
So,
Yeah.
thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for watching.